المملكة في أعلى ثمن. هذه الأرض لنا فليعي السودان لنا علما بين الأمم. السودان هذا رمزكم يحمل العبء ويحمي أرضكم.
جيش واحد شعب واحد، 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 جيش واحد شعب واحد.
الجنجويد
جدا تمام.
الجنجويد UK UN action now. Action for Sudan. Action for Sudan. Stop genocide in 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 Sudan. Stop genocide.
تمر كده شيلها بس سيبها اديني ليها الكاميرا دي.
الكبيرة دي هاي اجيبها هاي كلها.
Further affecting their mental. Social isolation is another issue. Many children have lost their friends or separated from their communities, which can lead to loneliness and emotional withdrawal. With these support networks, their ability to cope with the trauma of war is severely diminished, increasing their risk of long-term physiological damage. In addition to the emotional and physical toll, many of children in Sudan are losing their lives due to war. Bombings and gunfire frequently occur in residential areas, putting young lives at constant risk. School, homes and public spaces where children should feel safe have become dangerous. Typically, many children have been killed in these attacks while others have been severely injured.
This loss of life has profound impact of surviving children who are often forced to witness their horrors. The death of siblings, friends and classmates creates deep emotional wounds, adding layers of the trauma to their already fragile mental health. Each loss amplifies their feelings of fear, grief and hopelessness as the war continues to claim innocent lives. Parents and families also face the unbearable pain of losing their children, further destabilizing the community. The constant threat of death is a daily reality for the children in Sudan, adding immense stress to their already difficult lives. The war has turned what should be safest stage of the childhood in a time of fear, loss and tragedy.
Child abuse is one of the daily practices carried out by the rapid support mercenaries against all Sudanese, wherever they are and regardless of their ages, supported by the United Arab Emirates. UNICEF has been deeply involved in addressing these needs of children affected by the ongoing war in Sudan. The conflict, which began in April 2023, has created a humanitarian disaster, placing 14 million children at risk. These children face multiple threats, including malnutrition, displacement, disease outbreaks, and exposure to violence. The war has also severely disrupted essential services like healthcare and education, with over 90% of schools closed and hospitals under attack or non-operational. This has left millions of children without access to basic necessities and vital support.
UNICEF is focusing its efforts on providing immediate life-saving support through health services, nutrition, safe drinking water, and ongoing war in Khartoum has a devastating impact on children's mental health. Many have witnessed terrifying violence, including bombing and shooting, which leaves them with emotional scars. Constant exposures to danger creates overwhelming feelings of fear and insecurity, making it difficult for the children to feel safe even in their own homes.
The loss of family members and friends due to the conflict also contributes to severe grief and trauma. Children are often left to process these events without proper support, increasing their risk of developing mental health issues like PTSD, anxiety and depression. With little access to counselling or physiological care, many children struggle in silence. Displacement for their homes adds to emotional burden. Forced to live in unfamiliar and often unsafe conditions, children experience heightened stress and uncertainty. The lack of routine and stability, particularly with school closed, removes any sense of normalcy, further affecting their mental well-being. Social isolation is another issue. Many children have lost their friends or separated from their communities, which can lead to loneliness and emotional withdrawal. Without these support networks, their ability to cope with trauma of war is severely diminished, increasing their risk of long-term physiological damage. In addition to emotional and physiological control, many children in Sudan are losing their lives due to war. Bombings and gunfire frequently occur in residential areas, putting young children's lives at risk. School, homes and public spaces where children should feel safe have become more dangerous. Typically, many children have been killed in these attacks while others have been severely injured.
This loss of life has a profound impact on the surviving children, who are often forced to witness these horrors. The death of siblings, friends and classmates creates deep emotional wounds, adding layers of trauma to their already fragile mental health. Each loss amplifies their feelings of fear, grief and hopelessness as the war continues to claim innocent lives.
Child abuse is one of the daily practices carried out by the rapid support mercenaries against all Sudanese, wherever they are and regardless of their age, supported by the United Arab Emirates. UNICEF has been deeply involved in addressing these needs of children affected by the ongoing war in Sudan. The conflict, which began in April 2023, has created a humanitarian disaster, placing 14 million children at risk. These children face multiple threats, including malnutrition.
We, the children of Sudan, urge the international communities to stand and show the solidarity to the children of Sudan and their right to safe homes, health and education, and that can be done only campaigning for the RFS militia to be recognized as a terrorist organization and punished according to the international law of governance such as the ongoing war in Khartoum has a devastating impact on the children's mental health. Many have witnessed terrifying violence, including bombings and shootings, which leaves them with deep emotional scars. Constant exposure to danger creates overwhelming feelings to fear and insecurity, making it difficult for the children to feel safe even in their own homes.
The loss of family members and friends due to the conflict also contributes to a severe grief and trauma. Children are often left to process these events without proper support, increasing their risk developing mental health conditions like PTSD, anxiety and depression. With little access to counselling and physiological care, many children struggle in silence. Displacement of their homes adds to emotional burden, forced to live in unfamiliar and often unsafe conditions. Children experience heightened stress and uncertainty. The lack of routine and stability, particularly with schools closed, removes any sense of normalcy, further affecting their mental well-being. Social isolation is another issue. Many children have lost their friends or separated from their communities, which can lead to loneliness and emotional withdrawal. Without these support networks, their ability to cope with trauma of war is severely diminished, increasing their risk of long-term physiological damage. In addition to emotional and physiological toll, many children in Sudan are losing their lives due to the war. Bombings and gunfire frequently occur in residential areas, putting young lives at constant risk. School, homes and public places where children should feel safe have become more dangerous. Typically, many children have been killed in these attacks, while others have been severely injured.
This loss of life has a profound impact on the surviving children, who are often forced to witness these horrors. The death of siblings, friends and classmates creates deep emotional wounds and adding layers of the trauma to their already fragile mental health. Each loss amplifies their feelings of fear, grief and hopelessness as the war continues to claim innocent lives.
Child abuse is one of the daily practices carried out by the rapid support mercenaries against all Sudanese, wherever they are and regardless of their ages, supported by the United Arab Emirates. UNICEF has been deeply involved in addressing the needs of the children affected by the ongoing war in Sudan. The conflict, which began in April 2023, has created a humanitarian disaster, placing 14 million children at risk. These children face multiple threats, including malnutrition, displacement, disease outbreaks and exposure to violence. The war has also severely disrupted essential services like healthcare and education, with over 90% of schools closed and hospitals under attack or non-operational. This has left millions of children without access to basic necessities and vital protection.
UNICEF is focusing its efforts on providing immediate life-saving support through health services, nutrition, safe drinking water, and psychosocial care for children traumatized by the conflict. It has reached millions of children with critical health supplies and malnutrition treatment, and provided nearly 870,000 children with psychosocial support to help them cope with the trauma of war. However, the scale of the crisis is overwhelming, and more resources are urgently needed to meet the growing needs of Sudan's children, as famine and disease outbreaks are on the rise. The ongoing suffering of children in Sudan is largely caused by the action of the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, militia, and neighbouring countries who provide support to them. This must be stopped to allow people to live peacefully.
Parents and families also face the unbearable pain of losing their children, further destabilizing the community. The constant threat of death is a daily reality for children in Sudan, adding immense stress to their already difficult lives. The war has turned what should be the safest stages of childhood into a time of fear, loss, and tragedy.
Stop the war in Sudan.
Stop the war in Sudan!
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 Stop the war in Sudan! Stop the war in Sudan! Stop the war in Sudan! Peace and justice for Sudan! Peace and justice for Sudan!
جيش واحد شعب واحد.
جيش واحد شعب واحد. جيش واحد شعب واحد. جيش واحد شعب واحد. جيش واحد شعب واحد. فوق. المشكلة
جيش واحد شعب واحد. جيش واحد شعب واحد.
جيش واحد شعب واحد.
جيش واحد شعب واحد.
جيش واحد شعب واحد.
جيش واحد شعب واحد. جيش واحد شعب واحد. جيش واحد شعب واحد.
تعالوا مع بعض انت كلكم مع بعض
I would like to thank you all for taking time out in your busy to attend this protest. I would like also to thank the organizer and for facilitating this event. We're delighted that you have been able to join us today. We are making awareness of what's going on in Sudan. We'll go through this issue violated by RSF facing our people in Sudan. We aim to put the light spot on this war which has been ongoing for 18 months and causing a great deal of suffering of millions of Sudanese people who were displaced internally to neighborhood countries or trapped in the war zone. The many have been killed, detained or tortured. Women have been abducted and raped. People's homes have been raped and their money and belongings robbed and gunpoint. The ongoing situation in Sudan has deeply affected individuals in this protest who have had family members that experience the impact of this injustice firsthand. Witnessing or lost, displaced, we are all our personal horror stories that has happened to our family back home. Hospitals have been readied and converted to military facility, water supply distributed, and lately internet telecommunication services intentionally shut down without regard to the difficult impact on the civilian population. The war in Sudan is taking unimaginable toll on civilians. The World Food Program declared that almost 18 million people across the country are currently facing acute hunger, and they are only able to deliver food regularly to 1 out of 10 people facing hunger in difficult hotspot in Sudan. Also, the RSF has been controlling all the area producing food in Sudan, which has caused famine deliberately from RSF. The UN report estimated almost 15 people have been displaced internally in Sudan, making it the largest displaced crisis in the world, and sadly, every free corner is a shelter in Sudan. In Eastern Sudan, Chad, 7,000 people have been escaped, but they have largely been forgotten. The daily struggle for survival. Jane England, the Secretary of Norway Refugee Council, has visited the area and making statements. If this crisis remaining neglected and unattended as it is right now, the risk of instability is spreading very high. Filippo Gardin, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, is speaking from Sudan with the BBC News, calling for attention to crucial displaced crisis in the border of Chad. According to UN, 25 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance in Sudan right now. UNHRC estimated that over 1.8 million people will flee Sudan to neighbor countries. The USF, 14 million children in Sudan require humanitarian assistance right now, and UN reported more than 15,000 people have been killed ethnic cleansing in Al-Janaina last year. The war in Sudan has received fraction of attention given to Gaza and Ukraine and now Middle East. From here, we're sending our solidarity to the people of Ukraine and Gaza. It is crucial to acknowledge that The call for increasing media attention to Sudan does not aim to downplay the severity of crisis in Palestine and Ukraine. The people of Sudan, just like the people of Palestine, DRC, West Yemen, Ukraine, and beyond, deserve to live in peace and freedom. The overwhelming evidence for eyewitnesses count and respected news outline clearly linked to the Janjaweed militia, RSF, to the crimes, and the RSF has been documented looting homes, businesses, hospitals in the area where they have gained control. The RSF has terrorized civilians by looting their belongings and making daily life impossible, many of which are crimes against humanitarian and violated international law, which makes it a concern for everyone, including the UK. The role of foreign actors in the current war in Sudan has drawn significant attention, especially with the report pointing to the United Arab Emirates as a major suspender and supporter to the RSF rapid support force. There are multiple reports and investigations that alleged the UAE have provided direct military support to the RSF, including armed shippings and possible funding. Weapon and military equipment, the UAE has been accused of supporting the RSF, which weapons have been used in the ongoing conflict. The investigation by organizations like Conflict Armament Research, CAR, and various media outline have been indicated that the military hardware used by the RSF likely to organize it from UAE. For example, the RSF has been seen using advanced weaponry and armed vehicles that are believed to have been transferred through network linked to the UAE. This is not a mere conflict between two completed factions or between two generals. Okay? This is a large-scale war against Sudanese people, aiming to gain power, resources, and wealth illegally by Janjaweed, RSF, and their UAE backers. The evidence on the ground states conclusively that regimes under control of the army, Sudanese government enjoy peace and security. The war suffered displacement and army rebel happens only when the Janjaweed militia attacks the area. This is what has happened in Al-Fashil right now, and the capital Khartoum and Al Jazeera state, and in Darfur as the origin, Al Jazeera and Niala. The Al Jazeera Center state, which is producing the food, has been taken by RSF, which hundreds of thousands of refugees and become the center of international relief effort happened before until it was attacked by the Janjaweed rebels. Of course, this has happened before in Darfur and Kordofan and in western parts of the country. In addition to Janjaweed threat to escalate the war to the north and east of the country, this is centrally bringing terror, severe displacement, and this recent report from Sky News in Khartoum Bahari, in Khartoum North Bahari, is shocking and unbelievable report. An interview with those who speak about what it was like to live in RSF-controlled area of the capital. The world have not seen this, like anything like this before or recently. We have to go back in the days where the nasty invitation to similar violation and crimes We cannot allow this happen in these days as this will destabilize the whole regime and undermine the international law, peace and order. We are asking to use influence to help to protect the Sudanese civilian population and bringing the end to this fashion war and bringing to those who committed crimes to justice and seeking solution to promote peace and stability. We are here to guard support and speak on behalf of the majority of the Sudanese people who suffer from forgotten war, and it is our duty to be here for others and speak up for others when they can't. We must fight for the truth and justice. If we don't stand for something, we stand for nothing. The conclusion of what I have said so far, the war in Sudan particularly and the atrocity violation committed by the RSF has created one of the most severe human crises in the world today. The RSF actions, including ethnic cleansing, mass killing, sexual violence, forest displaced, and disruption of infrastructure left the millions of Sudanese people in desperate need of protection and assistance. جيش واحد شعب واحد. جيش واحد شعب واحد. One army, one nation. مشتركة فوق.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحن اليوم هنا في بيرمنهام طلعنا ضد انتهاكات الدعم السريع وضد التدخل الأجنبي في السودان، ونحن مع السودان حكومة وشعب ومع الجيش السوداني واقفين على سنه السودان نوقف الدولة السودانية ضد انتهاكات الدعم السريع وضد تدخل الإمارات وضد التدخل الأجنبي وضد تدخل الاتحاد الأفريقي وضد جابتر 7 البند السابع، ضد أي تدخلات في السودان. السودان فوق، مشتركة فوق، جيش واحد شعب واحد.
الشعب السوداني التحية الطيبة على الشعب السوداني الصامت. في الحقيقة كل الدول والمؤامرات اتقالبت ضد السودان. رسالتي للشعب السوداني، كل الدول يعني واقفين ضدك، أغلبية الدول واقفين ضدك. طيب عشان انت تتصدى على العدوان الخاشم اللي يقودها ميليشيات الجنجويد، ميليشيات الدعم السريع، معاه دول امارات وغيرها، حتى معاه USA، معاه بريطانيا، معاه الفرنسيين، معاه كل الدول بتدعم في ميليشيات دي على اساس يغيروا التغيير الديموغرافي لميليشيات للسودان. اذا نحن نقول للشعب السوداني يتوحد ثم يتوحد. انصحوا صغائر الامور، والشعب السوداني عليه ان يتوحد ضد الميليشيات. غير وحدتنا ما في حل تاني، نتوحد عشان نكسر هذا العدو. ورسالتي للجيش السوداني اتوحد وابقى الصمود مع المشتركه وامشي قدام. نقول وبرضه نبارك للقوات المشتركه على انتصاراتهم الاخيره في سيام مدو، وعندك بيرمزة، وعندك تخوم زرق. نتمنى لهم كل التوفيق، وان شاء الله قدام نحن واقفين معاكم قلبا وغالبا، وابقوا الصمود. ما في دولة واقف معاكم. النازل مستعمر جديد، ده يعتبر مستعمر جديد، والاستعمار الجديد لم نقبل ابدا. ونوصل رسالة لكل شعب السودان والجيل الصغير بالذات، ارضك ماشي يتباع بسوق علن، ارضك ماشي يتباع ويسرق مواردك. اصحى يا جيل السامت، اصحى واحمي بلدك. بارك الله فيك، شكرا لكم كثير. التلفزيون السوداني. اسمي عبد الجبار ادم يحيى.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. نهنئ أنفسنا والشعوب السودانية بانتصار جيشنا على جنجويد الداخل والمنافي الذين كانوا يظنون بأن النصر حليفهم، ونسأل الله الرحمة والقبول الحسن لشهدائنا وعاجل الشفاء للجرحى، ونسأله تعالى فك أسر المأسورين جنودا كانوا أم مدنيين إنه على ذلك لقدير. قل للذين يوزعون الموت في الطرقات إن الله حي لا يموت وإنه سبحانه نصير المظلومين. إن ممارسات الميليشيا متمثلة في سلوكها الهمجي ورغبتها العارمة في التدمير وتهجير المواطنين والأموال والممتلكات والإساءة اللفظية والفعلية مع الانتهاكات الجسدية والاغتصابات التي لم تستثني صغير أو كبير من الجنسين واسترقاق لفتياتنا ونسائنا في دول الجوار تحت دعوى الفلول وجلب الديمقراطية لهو مسرحية سمجة رديئة النص والإخراج. إنما حدث من دمار للبنية التحتية للدولة والتدمير الممنهج لإرثها وتاريخها يتضح أنه فعل آثم لطمس هويتنا إحلالا وإبدالا للخارطة السكانية للشعوب السودانية ونهب لمواردها ومقدراتها. ظهر واضحا في التدخل السافر من القوى الإقليمية وعلى رأسها دولة الإمارات ومن خلفها من تحالفات أوروبية وأمريكية تدير المشهد وتضع العقبات منذ أمد بعيد للحيلولة دون تصنيف ميليشيا الدعم السريع كجماعة إرهابية ولا زالت تدعم هذه الجماعات المتفلتة. إن نخبتنا السياسية لا تزال في غيها القديم من شهوة مرضية للحكم مع غياب للرؤية وافتقار للمبادئ والقيم الوطنية ويلبسون لكل حالة لبوسها ويجعلون من أنفسهم حاضنة سياسية لهذه الميليشيا ويقفون معهم بكل ما أوتوا من مكر لتحقيق أهدافهم وهم واهمون إن ظنوا إن لهم موطئ غدم في بلد لم ينصفوه حتى بالإدانة لما حدث لشعوبهم. ولهم نقول لقد كشفت سوآتكم ومزاعمكم البغيضة بأنها حرب فلول وكيزان كأنما يختزلون السودان وأهله في صراعاتهم التاريخية الممجوجة بين اليمين واليسار، صراعات لم يجن منها أهل السودان حقا ولا باطل. إن الصمت الرهيب الذي أبداه المجتمع الدولي تجاه الحالة السودانية سيبقى وصمة عار في جبين المنظمات من متحدة، اتحاد إفريقي، الإيقاد، جامعة الدول العربية ومنظمات المجتمع المدني. وتأسيسا على ذلك فهم شركاء بالأصالة لا بالوكالة مع شرذمة السماسرة والمنتفعين من أبناء السودان الذين باعوا بلادهم للشيطان، باعوها بثمن بخس وكانوا فيها من الزاهدين. والتاريخ لا يرحم ونحن والأجيال القادمة لن نضعكم إلا في خانة الخيانة العظمى. ومن هنا أود أن أرسل رسالة إعزاز محبة واحترام لكنداكات الداخل على تضحياتهن رغم الألم النفسي والجسدي وفقد الحبيب والغريب والتهجير القسري من منازلهن. فقد رأينا بأعيننا العسكرية والفدائية حاملات السلاح والمطعمات للعسكريين والمدنيين والطبيبات المتطوعات يعالجن المرضى في المستشفيات والمراكز الصحية تحت نيران التدوين العشوائي، بل بأن هنالك أخريات يبيعن ويشترين في الأسواق. ولكم سالت أدموعنا ونحن نرى فتيات وطاعنات في السن يحملن المعاول ويفتحن المجاري تحت المطر والسيول وألسنتهن تلهج بالدعاء لنصر جنودنا البواسل في كل مكان. وحتما سننتصر وإن طال الزمن، لأن الشعوب لا تقبل الغزو ولا تخضع لمن يهينها وينهبها ويذل كرامتها ويحاول كسر إرادتها وإخداعها بالسلاح. ختاما الشكر أجزله لثوار بيرمنهام على الدعوة الكريمة تحت مظلة الوطنية رافعين شعار لا للحزبية الجهوية أو المناطقية فكلنا في الهم وطن. عاش السودان قلب أفريقيا النابض علما بين الأمم، وعاشت الشعوب السودانية الأبية معلمة الشعوب معنى الصمود. اختر مكانك ثم احترق الحصة وطن. الله أكبر، جيش واحد شعب واحد، كلنا جيش، إننا جيش السودان ونفتديه بالمقل. شكرا جزيلا.
بسم الله. راشد بابكر عبد الله، ضابط سابق من القوات المسلحة. اولا الشكر لاخواننا واخواتنا في بيرمنهام على الوقفة المعبرة للتضامن مع قواتنا المسلحة وكل قواتنا المقاتلة في معركتنا ضد العدوان الوقع على السودان من عدة دول إقليمية ودولية. نحن في حربنا الوجودية نخوض حرب ضد نهب مواردنا وطمس الهوية، ولذلك اصطفت كل جماهير شعبنا في صفوف المقاومة الشعبية المسلحة دعما للقوات المسلحة وللانتصار في معركتنا الوجودية، وحتما سننتصر لأن الله معنا. وفق الله القوات المسلحة وكل المؤسسات النظامية الأخرى، القوات المشتركة والمقاومة الشعبية المسلحة، وحتما النصر لنا. شكرا جزيلا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. نحن اليوم هنا في وقفة لدعم الجيش السوداني، وأتينا من مدينة لندن ومعنا مجموعة طيبة هم يبحثوا عن دعم السودان ولرفعة السودان ولإدانة كل من أجرم في حق الشعب السوداني وبالسودان، ودعمنا للجيش السوداني. جيش واحد شعب واحد. هذه هي المقولة التي أتينا بها إلى بيرمنهام. وفي الحقيقة بنشكر كمان أبناء بيرمنهام الذين استقبلونا استقبال حار، ونشكرهم، ونشكر تلفزيون السودان كمان اللي بيغطي معانا هذه التغطيات، ونتمنى أنها تكون الوقفات دي مستمرة للضغط على الرأي العام. وإلى اللقاء، تحياتي، مبارك نور الدائم.
خلقنا الله فسجدنا له، وكل العالم بيشهد لنا نحن الأوائل في كونه، وكل البشر أتوا من بعدنا. فيا مجد كوش العظيم من يكون في الورى مثلنا، وكان ذاك تنسج ثوب المهابة فخرا وعزا لنا. أسوأ الشعوب شعوب تتمسك بها النيران من كل مكان ولا تحاول أن تصرخ، وتحيط بها النكبات من كل مكان ولا تحاول أن ترفض، ويحكمها الصغار وترضى. ولكن هذا ليس الشعب السوداني. الشعب السوداني شعب أبي، شعب مفجر للثورات، شعب واقف مع جيشه. ونحن حماة العلم وفرقة الفورد كوماندوز بهاين الجيش السوداني. شكرا جزيلا.
Next to the RCC, next to the canal side, to honor our more than 50,000 Palestinian martyrs, honor their names, honor their stories, and remember that we will not forget. We will not forget until the liberation of Palestine is actually a reality. We are past the ceasefire only as a demand. We are demanding and we are asking, we're not asking, we are demanding freedom for Palestine, freedom for the Sudan, freedom for all. We want the liberation of the full Palestinian country, Palestinian land that has been stolen from us from 1948 and before. So free, 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 free. And this here, us being here, joining our brothers and sisters from Sudan, is actually what unites us, what shows that our struggle is one, our fight is one, our unity is stronger. We're stronger when we're together. So we're here to call for the liberation of Palestine, of Sudan, of Congo, of Yemen, of Kashmir, of Syria, of all the global south. We're here to demand freedom for all, and we have not forgotten, and we will not forget.
أبو طويلة تعال عملها هنا الحركة بتاعت القرآن.
Every single martyr, every single Palestinian prisoner is free from the occupation until the Zionist entity has gone. Until Palestine is finally free from the river to the sea.
Free Palestine. Free Sudan.
أيوة.
Thank you, Palestine people. We stand with you again. And also the same, your history. We have Sudanese people being killed supported by different countries, which is, we call them conspiracy, invasion right now. Every day is a big shelling and kill people in Al-Fashir is being surrounded now for the 6 months, and there's the hospital being all destroyed, and the kids are being killed, and most of the people is displaced. So also we hope stand with us as the Sudanese people. We also